What have I learned about money from my parents? Many things, actually. Some of them good, some of them not so good. I'm going to go over four of them, four principles that I've learned from them that I learned from them. Number one, first, do not splurge ever. Doesn't matter if you're making $250,000, your house is paid off, don't splurge on anything. And I only laugh about this one because I remember going to restaurants as a kid, which we didn't do very often, maybe once a month, maybe. And I always wanted a Sprite. Always! I always. And I was never allowed. My parents never let us have soda. I'm not kidding. I can't even think one time my whole entire childhood we ever wanted to have soda. And I was low key very, very sad. Not so sad, but righteous indignation against this. And it was hilarious. Second one, I remember going to McDonald's, which, great health food for your kid's growing brain, right? And we would be given one option, and only one option: burgers. Not even cheeseburgers, just hamburgers, no cheese added. And they were 49 cents, which tells you, man, I have some gray in my hair. And, when you go to McDonald's, what else? You get the burger and fries. But no fries either. And I laugh because I look back and it's such a small thing because it really doesn't matter. But man, I remember, again, righteous indignation, my brothers and I, that we weren't allowed to have any fries. It made us so angry. And I look back and I think, why? But just why? Why no dollar fry? Why? And that was just how they were. That was just how my mother and father were. They would not splurge on anything. Anything. Minivans, older sedans, nothing brand new, nothing shiny. It was just hilarious. Hilarious that we live in this beautiful, beautiful home in a beautiful neighborhood, and everyone's dad is driving a Porsche Mercedes, which is not an exaggeration, and my dad was driving a Nissan. I remember being seriously embarrassed in 6th or 7th grade that my mother was driving a gold minivan. I remember being so embarrassed, and I look back and I think to myself, well, how superficial was I? How idiotic can someone be to where if I'm not driving a fancy SUV, which is what I thought those were back in the day, I wasn't really cool. And I remember thinking that, just looking back upon it, wow, I was superficial. Second principle, pay yourself first and save, save, save. My father saved a decent amount of money from the first house I lived in when I was younger, bought a home in a nicer neighborhood when I was a few years old, and put a lot of money down because he saved. And it wasn't just for real estate, it was also for the rainy day that may come. Because the rainy day always comes. He's had a few different real estate jobs in my lifetime, and one he was terminated, which is not fun for everybody. So he had 90 days of not working. And honestly, I don't even remember this. I must have been too young for it. But he tells me that, and he said, yeah, it was pretty difficult. I mean, anxiety driven. I mean, we didn't use the word anxiety back in that day. It was simply a bad situation. It was bad. It wasn't terrible. It was bad. And thankfully, through his withdrawing or lack of shiny things, lack of fancy stuff, and lack of payments, he was able to go through that with a family of 6, which, bloody hell. 6 people surviving off one income. I commend you, Father. Third one is, shiny things are for poor people. Now, he never told me that, but he definitely taught me that. He drove a Nissan Altima. My mother drove first off, a gray minivan, then a gold Plymouth Voyager, and that was that. That was that. And I remember this car scratching and being dinged and dented, and he just wouldn't care. Like, seriously, like, things are so replaceable, and I remember thinking, but it's a car, it's so shiny, and shiny things didn't matter. Shiny things didn't matter and still don't matter. I mean, he's still very much alive and well. They don't matter, and those who have really shiny things most likely are buying it on credit and have no money in the bank. And I learned that very, very quickly. So it taught me, it's a good idea. So in turn, I ended up buying my first car cash when I was 17 for almost $6,000. Gosh, that was mind-blowing. I saved up that for like 2 years. It was crazy. And then lastly is keep cash on hand. Banks are great, but what happens when a riot or pandemic comes and they shut the banks down for a little while? What happens when there's unrest and the ATMs and the banks are completely closed? Keeping a little bit of green on hand is necessary and very, very useful. Because when everything's shut down and you still need to feed your family, having that money is 100% necessary. So don't keep a ton, but I was taught to keep a little bit just in case these things happen. Well, that's what I learned about finances and money as a child. What did you learn? What are the best principles your parents taught you? Comment below, and I'll talk to you guys later.